Stress is the body's way of dealing with challenging situations. This includes the following: respiratory, cardiovascular, and nervous system changes. These listed elements are common nowadays for teenagers to go through. Stress from school more specifically. There are specific reasons school is so stressful for students: work overload, pressure, deadlines, etc. While there are some positive and negative impacts on students because of stress, it is still a major issue that is universally affecting teenagers, and there are several solutions to this issue. The factor of stress that is so overwhelming and makes so many teenagers around the world agree that it is their biggest stressor. Experts have noticed that in comparison to the stress caused by work overload in the 90s, there's a definite increase. ABC News answers this question and talks about different perspectives from Australian students aged 13 to 18 who are under quite a lot of stress due to school, providing the perspectives of a variety of teenagers actually going through stress. One of them, a 16-year-old girl, Stella Conlon, says, "There's a lot expected from us, but I don't think teenagers are exactly equipped to deal with the stress and pressures that are put on us." While James Browning, a 15-year-old boy, states, "I do see for a lot of people in my year that there's a lot of pressure to perform in your academics." According to the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development (OECD) report, information from the OECD PISA 2015 Students' Wellbeing Report, which covers teenagers in 72 countries, from this report they state that they have discovered that deadlines, exam pressure, peer pressure, parents, and teachers are the range of factors contributing to student stress. They have discovered that the 2/3 of students are stressed about their performance academics in school, while 31% of teenagers say they feel overwhelmed because of stress. 30% of students report they feel depressed and sad because of stress, and 36% of the students claim that they feel tired and exhausted as a result of stress. The majority of students surveyed are stressed because they are worried about their academic performances, involving the grades they had gotten for a specific test or assignment. A video that supports this report interviews a variety of teenagers aged 13 to 18 who experience stress from work overload. These teenagers do not balance their work overload with other stressors such as academic activities, family issues, and etc. These teenagers say that having tests for each class and projects due on the same day causes a lot of stress. This makes it quite overwhelming for them and their developing minds. When teenagers have so many other issues in their lives, and to add to that, an extra stack of work to do, tests to study for, and projects to finish, it becomes very stressful for them. Although stress is quite a big issue, there is a specific category of stress that a large population of teenagers go through. The feelings of stress, fear, or distress for school is referred to as academic anxiety. Most students experience academic anxiety when they're expected to gain a high level when the stakes are so high, such as for the International Baccalaureate Organization, also known as IB or IBO. This is an international educational organization. Students preparing for the IB test will most likely be under academic anxiety because they are aiming for such a high score when they're under all that pressure, knowing that if they don't do well, they will struggle to get into any university. This feeling of academic anxiety is not uncommon at all. In fact, a majority of students around the world feel academic anxiety, especially those aged 16 to 18 who have university that they have to think about.
I took IB this last year. I graduated in 2017. I've been in AISG for 13 years. IB was very, very stressful and it was very difficult. One of the most stressful things about IB is that all the classes give you a lot of work to do in a very, very short amount of time. What's stressful is going into the exams as well, knowing that you've spent the last 2 years preparing for it. And if you're not good at taking tests like me, it can be very, very stressful for you. It was a very, very stressful period in my life. 2 years of stress. Knowing that the grades I got would sometimes limit my university options or it would open them up for me. You have to be very careful with what you got during the IB.
When academic anxiety causes too much stress for students, they can sometimes result in cheating. An article known as Teen Health and Wellness states that 75% of the students surveyed report that they cheated on a test. And if you consider copying someone else's homework, then 90% of the students surveyed cheated. This is an example where academic anxiety negatively affected students' performances in school, whereas in some cases, students have had a positive impact from academic anxiety. An example of this, according to Teen Health and Wellness, is when a person feels stressed, that part of the brain that controls fear and aggression, known as amygdala, sends signals to the body to release adrenaline, causing their heart to beat faster and makes their blood flow to their internal organs rapidly. The chemical that makes humans feel pain, known as dopamine, is reduced, referred to as the flight or fight response. The rush of chemicals makes the body react quicker to danger and makes the body sense sharp. This causes students to see and hear clearer, resulting in a better academic performance. In the provided chart comparing boys and girls' way of managing stress, most boys don't try as hard to find help when they get stressed, while girls' percentage in finding help when they are stressed is 10% more than guys. 23% of the boys surveyed report that they distract themselves, while 17% girls distract themselves. While the majority of the boys and girls surveyed actively try to reduce their stress, more students should start developing stress coping strategies to make it easier for them at school. What is the solution to stress from school? Is there a specific way this issue can be resolved? Experts and researchers have had attempted to solve this issue. According to Gina Soleil, she suggests that school starts teaching students to meditate and how to calm the mind of young developing minds. She refers to the executive editor of the Harvard Heart Letter, Julie Corliss. Julie Corliss claims that her mother would meditate every day from a young age and still continues this to the age of 81. This website claims that this method of calming the mind can eventually expand your lifespan ever so slightly. The professor of epidemiology and public health at University College London, known as Michael Marmot, quotes, "The men at the bottom of the office hierarchy have, at ages 40 to 64, 4 times the risk of death as administrators at the top of the hierarchy. Too much stress can eventually result in heart disease, cancer, headaches, depression, and anxiety. These factors are very overwhelming on the human body, therefore making the lifespan shorter." However, according to the researchers from Johns Hopkins University in Baltimore, they went through approximately 19,000 medication studies. Their findings determined that the mindful meditation can help calm the body from stress, involving anxiety, pain, and depression. There are many people who find that mindful meditation is the most helpful in reducing stress, and now the mindfulness-based stress reduction training is spread largely throughout the United States. Some students have suggested that to help reduce stress, teenagers should have a good and healthy snack such as an apple to give the body the nutrients it needs that can help students work to the best of their abilities and keep them energized. Another suggestion was to find a good workspace with no distractions such as television and social media. This makes it easier for teenagers to concentrate and finish their work properly, efficiently, and to the best of their abilities. They advised others to set goals for themselves, prioritizing their work. Planning goals is a big solution, making a list of what has to be finished so that students do not procrastinate because it will cause them to become even more stressed. They also suggested avoiding all-nighters because they are not healthy and they will make you tired and they are ineffective. The students lastly encouraged to get involved in other activities with friends. This can help distract young minds and help decrease the stress. My opinion on how this problem should be resolved is for students to keep themselves organized and do not procrastinate. Procrastinating will not do anything, but make their schedule even more busy than it probably already is. Students should keep a planner and keep a limit on how many hours each assignment should be worked on. Yes, meditating may be a good option, but I personally don't think it can benefit everyone. If students wrote down their deadlines and homework in a planner, they won't have so much on their mind to remember. This will help reduce their stress. Even though stress is a large issue in the common world, stress from school is a big issue that targets a large population of teenagers, more specifically all around the world. There's so many reasons school is stressful for students. Academic anxiety is a form of stress and can negatively and positively impact students. And there are many solutions to this issue involving meditation.